moved into a friend's garage, minimized all my bills to the lowest possible place it can go, and I focus on coding for 6 to 8 hours a day for an entire year. If you're building a level 1 application, just making API calls or making a mistake. My whole mission and stuff now is to decrease fear with AI, increase creativity.
I like that.
I predicted GPTs like 6 months before OpenAI announced the GPT store. I was showing how GPTs was going to work.
Yeah.
I had like 3 GPTs and stuff that I was showing, and it's just like 6 months before they announced the GPT store. And then they announced it. I was like, oh, crap. Again, I'm good at predicting what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was going to happen that fast.
Now, who do you think is like a second up after OpenAI?
You know, this is going to sound really weird. I would say
D-Hustle, man.
Yeah.
Yo, we over here chilling, player.
I hear you.
Another day in the studio.
Beautiful.
But we
day.
got it. It is rainy though. It's rainy season here in South Florida.
Hurricane season.
Yeah, actually, isn't there one out there right
There's
now?
one coming out right now.
Yeah, it's gonna hit the West Coast.
Beautiful.
That didn't affect you out there, did it?
nah.
It's definitely gonna head a little bit north, but I want to say welcome to Backstage with BobbyD. I got a special guest, and I already gave him a little bit of an intro.
What we got?
I got my guy Marlon Avery. What's going on, my man?
Marlon.
Man, appreciate you guys having me. Man.
Yeah, welcome to the studio. We over here in Palm Beach. My guy, took his time to come all the way over here on the East Coast, coming from the West Coast of Florida, and definitely appreciate that you made it here safe and sound. And wishing you best of luck getting back home a little bit later this evening. But first of all, I want to say thank you so much for pulling up and giving us this time to just chat up with you, because you know what I call him? I call him Mr. AI. He is the plug. He's the one that knows what's going on in this industry, specifically around AI.
I want to know more.
Yeah, no, D always got some good questions. But in general, I just definitely want our audience to get an opportunity to see someone that looks like me and you that is excelling in this field, specifically around AI, and hear what kind of bars he got.
Well, he don't look like you. He got a facial
I know.
hair.
I got spots. Come on, D, man. You know I've been struggling all my life.
Taller than you and everything.
Come on, man. Come on. Let me get some grace, bro.
You are. I'm getting you grace.
Yeah, when I stand next to somebody, man, come on, bro.
I'm all right. There's short people problems over here. That's don't worry about it.
No worries. But Marlon, man, give us a quick introduction, man. Tell us where you're coming from and a little bit of what you're into right now.
Yeah, man. Marlon Avery, man. Self-taught software engineer. Taught myself how to code quite some time ago. Originally from Texas, and so all my family, is still in Texas. Kind of did high school and stuff and everything up in Georgia.
Yeah.
And from there, played collegiate basketball and football down in South Florida.
Yeah, he got the height, though.
Let's get that shout out right there.
He got the height, though.
Shout out. He's linebacker material. Let's go.
Look at you.
Defensive end.
Ooh,
There he goes, you see?
he's calling it.
Yeah, that was fun. Played collegiate football and basketball while I was in college. And then while I was there, man, God gave me this idea of I was a big fan of sneakers like Air Jordans, Nikes, LeBrons.
Yeah.
And God gave me this idea, like I wanted a way where I can view my sneaker collection and other people's collection on my phone. And so I was like, I was looking through the market. I was like, man, I would love to download an app like this. And at the time, it just wasn't anything like that. Even close to it. And so I was like, you know what? Maybe I should do it. Maybe I should build it and everything. So at this time, the only thing I knew how to do with apps was download them. I didn't know anything about how to do with apps. And so interesting time too. This is like 2011. So if you believe it or not, it's like little to no information on the internet of like learning how to code.
Yeah.
Learning how to build apps and things like that. So kind of like, I guess like dating my journey and stuff here.
He said dating.
That's when I started to kind of figure out that journey. MIT had just released Scratch.
Scratch.
Yeah, the coding program Scratch and everything. So they just released it and they took it down, and then they re-released it like a year or two later and stuff. And so from there, I was like, man, you know what? Maybe I should do it. And I started kind of teach myself UI, UX design, everything on YouTube and stuff, whatever it may be. Kind of start with there, like the look, the feel, the color palette, just like everything. And so, you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
And everything. And so I designed the first iterations of the app in Microsoft Paint.
Now, if y'all don't
Shout
know
out
what
to
that
that.
is,
Shout out to that.
if y'all don't know what that is,
Well, too much.
you know the way I like to describe Microsoft Paint, it's like using crayons nowadays.
Yes.
Compared to what you got, it's like
Yes.
using crayons.
Yes, very
Why don't
much
you
so.
skew the community about what exactly that is real quick?
Yeah. So I'll let you know quick. So Microsoft Paint is one of those applications that came along with most Windows installation. It's almost like Notepad is another one, right? So it's like these default applications that you have, and it allowed us to do some artwork, but not at that level where you can do like on Photoshop and stuff like that. This is like old school type. Like when I say it's like using crayons, it's like we're using crayons nowadays.
Yeah, and I just didn't know. That's the only thing I knew and stuff at the time. And so I started kind of putting it together. I was copying, pasting, and emailing images to myself to figure out how it would look on my phone, and stuff. And so at the time, I didn't even know what I was doing. I would email and all these images. I had this whole like design, like 20 plus 30 images of the screen, what it would look like. And I was starting to figure out how to do transparent backgrounds. So I was taking images of shoes off the internet and everything, removing the background, putting it like on the shelf and everything on the closet, how it would look on the screen. And so I started kind of like going through that, and I started like going to the mall, and the first people I would see with shoes, I would talk to them and ask them about the app.
Yeah.
So at the time, I didn't know this was customer discovery and everything.
That's
I was
exactly
excited
what it
about
was.
something, that I was doing. And so every single person was like, man, this is extremely interesting. Keep going and stuff with it. I want to see more. How can I download this? Whatever it may be. So ended up meeting an individual who worked at Google, and he saw the app, and he's like, oh, man, this is really interesting. Quick question. What did you design this in? And I was like, Microsoft Paint. He was like, don't do that no more. Go learn Photoshop immediately.
Yeah.
So this is like before Sketch and, other type of tools and stuff as well. So I learned Photoshop and everything. And then quickly, I also learned that, I didn't know enough how app companies should be ran. And so I went to set a goal to work with an app company, which I did, which is at the time was like the largest app company in the world, which is Uber.
Yeah.
And so went to go work at Uber in the Atlanta office. Started off on the operations support side, ended up working with the Uber Eats team when that platform and stuff launched. And so while I was there, I designed and built some features within the Uber platform too as well. That's still been used in some segments of the world.
Yeah.
And then, I kind of kept going and stuff with it. And so, in the midst of trying to figure this thing out, I started, kind of like building other applications for individuals. So one of my kind of claim to fames here, the Instagram comedian, HaHa Davis, one who's always had this different sayings.
Yeah.
And so me and my friends, we had we would always be repeating his sayings via text message, whatever it be. And so one day, again, I was like, man, he should have his own iOS text messaging platform because me and my friends are always kind of going back and forth with it. And I was like, you know what, maybe I should do it.
There you go.
Again, having no clue what to do.
Yeah.
And so I DM'd him, and his manager got back to me. He was like, all right, we'll give you a shot. Let's check it out. I flew to Detroit, pitched it to him. And so I was like, all right, bet. I said, give me 2 months. 2 months. Having no clue what to do.
He's selling something. He's like, yo, I don't even know I'm going to get these bricks.
Having no clue what to do. And so, went through all of the craziness of, using Xcode and everything like that. And so I was like, I finally finished it, submitted to the Apple Store. We released the app on Sunday. I woke up that Thursday, something told me to check the App Store. And so I don't even know what I'm looking for. I checked the App Store. I'm scrolling. And then boom, it pops up. No one app in the App Store. And so just for time's sake too as well, Black Panther had just released a couple months ago. Black Panther was number one. We bumped into number two.
No, give him a round of applause for that. And remember, he didn't even know what he was doing. He killed it. That's what's up.
And so if you're on my social, I think it's still on my page where it's like in the little highlight areas and everything where I was talking about it because I didn't understand what was happening.
That's what's up.
And so from there, I got the courage to really, really kind of, go a deep dive and stuff and really teach myself how to code. And so I moved into a friend's garage, minimized all my bills to the lowest possible place it can go, and I focus on coding for 6 to 8 hours a day for an entire year.
That's what's up. That's commitment right there.
Shout out to
that.
Right
big
there.
Shout outs to it. And I think it's just that taste that you got in terms of what you were capable of doing. And then the second part is the commitment, right? It's like, I got to commit my time, got to commit my finances, I got to commit my lifestyle to really level it up. And then I can only imagine where you are right now, because taking that time to really develop that skills, oh my gosh, I know he's coming out the gate as a beast, ready to go.
It's interesting you say that too, because taste and commitment. Taste is number 2, commitment is number 3. The first thing of that is, I would say, influence, and like seeing individuals like yourself is influence. So the first person I got to see who looked like me, who was doing software engineering, was an individual by the name of Aston Motes. And so I was on a virtual call and stuff, and I got to see him, and it was like he was like the most intelligent human being I remember I'd seen in my life. I'm like, bro. And so Aston Motes, just for context, he was employee number 1 at Dropbox.
That's what's up.
And stuff. And so he's done really well,
Well, shout out to him for
big shout outs to him.
Yeah. And so, he's done really well and stuff in his career. And so, fast forward, I taught myself how to code. And then a company kind of saw what I was doing. Company by the name of Treehouse. So, if you taught yourself how to code or learn how to code, at some point you probably came across Treehouse. And so Treehouse reached out to me, the CEO, Ryan, and said, hey, man, we're starting this program where we're teaching minorities how to code in 8 to 10 months, and then we place them into jobs at the end of it. Right now, we're not doing so well. Will you come help us run it? Yeah. And so I was like, sure. And so went over there, and the program was called Talent Path, and it was an apprenticeship program. And so when I got there, the program was like 30% on track to finish, and then when I got done, 80% finished.
Look at my guy, make an impact.
And so from there, a larger company saw what we were doing by the name of Udacity. At the time, it was the second largest ed tech platform in the world. I went over there, ran about 50% of the engineering courses while I was there. And then from there, that got the attention of a friend of mine by the name of Brian Brackeen. He was starting a venture capital firm, Lightstreet Capital, which was the largest minority-owned venture capital firm in the world, based in the Midwest, ran by a black woman. And so went over there as engineering director, and which also, too, where my AI journey and stuff started. They had a venture side, where they invest into startups, and kind of help them cross the line. And I also had a nonprofit side, to it as well.
Oh, that's what's up.
The nonprofit side. So the leadership came to me at one point and said, hey, Marlon, we just got access to this tool called OpenAI,
early access.
Right, and everything. And so, they was like, hey, do you think, you can use this tool to help us write grants faster on the nonprofit side? And so going back to that, yeah, sure, I know. Having no clue what to do.
I said, I got it.
So I told him, this is why, actually, it's probably around this time, that time when it was late, in the year. And so I told him, I said, look, don't expect any results till the end of the year. Yeah. I figured it out in a weekend.
That's what's up.
And so essentially, man, what we ended up building was one of the first AI grant writers on top of GPT-3.
That's what's up.
And so GPT-3 had launched, everything. And so we figured it out and, built some stuff around it. From there, I transitioned, everything, and mostly to the entrepreneur side. So since then, man, I've been teaching, building. Me, myself, as an individual, I have ran and did about 60+ sessions myself over the last 16 months.
Oh, that's what's up. Congratulations on that.
Yeah, man. It's been good. Yeah. Teaching generative AI to mostly organizations, entrepreneurs, and nonprofits, and stuff, how to integrate it, how to build it, and just how to use it on a day-to-day basis, mostly around, operations. And so from there, man, then grab some clients on the way, building some solution stuff for them, and just kind of learning and teaching myself, with the rest of the world.
That's what's up, man. Big round of applause for Marlon, right? Because the thing that I hear about your journey, number one, is just the mindset that you can build anything, even if they haven't even seen it yet, or if you haven't even seen it yet, and then being able to get not just early access to a tool, but put the early access to use. A lot of people get you early access and be like, oh yeah, it just does this. But you were like, no, I'm going to actually build something that does something. And then guess what? It's going to open up doors and paths for the organization I'm supporting, but other organizations and things that I want to go work on.
That was 2 years before ChatGPT.
I know. That's why I'm listening to you be like, yo, that means you got early access, right? Yeah, and it's I got access when everybody else did. And there still ain't enough people that has access.
It's funny too. That at that time period, it was definitely private. It was private beta, and they was approving, I don't know, a couple hundred people a month, whatever it may be. And so at that time, OpenAI was so small, you could literally email specific engineers, and talk to them about what you're building and what you're working on, what you're trying to figure it out and everything. And so the biggest transition when we was building, this AI grant writer, you had to like store, a database and everything and stuff and everything. So now it's like a vector database.
Yeah.
And so, at the time, I think vector database was coming up, but I just wasn't familiar with it. And so, you had to put all your documents in a JSON lines file. And I was like, what the hell is JSON lines? Like, I know what JSON is.
Yeah.
And everything. I was like, what JSON lines is? And so it's so tedious and everything. And so essentially it's JSON, but everything, but just like line by line by line by line by line and everything. And so it makes the embedding process easier.
Yeah. Well, which is the future of vector databases.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so it makes the embedding process easier to read and everything and to kind of go through. And so yeah, man. So like once we built that and kind of I understand the foundations of it and how it reads and how it understands and how it documents and everything like that. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I see what this is headed. And so the day I saw ChatGPT, I probably like saw like the first description, the first line. I was like, oh, I know exactly what this is.
Oh, yeah. You peep game quick.
I know exactly what this is.
Yeah.
And so from there, man, I think the rest of the world was like, oh, this is interesting. And I just had the privilege of kind of like being into it and stuff already. And so from there, man, I started teaching, building, and going from there.
So when you seen that and you was kind of like the light bulb, did you imagine that's what it was going to be in terms of like from the interfaces that you use, API access to this chat interface? Did you think that was going to be like the first medium that we're going to access to?
What's funny? The grant writer that we built, the structure of it was extremely similar to how ChatGPT is today. And so you had to prompt it, to kind of like get the questions and everything, kind of get responses and everything. And so, with it. And so you have to prompt it and everything. You have to, get the queries and just like that. And so, like, once that process and stuff laid out, and now you're doing this for the entire web, I was like, oh yeah, I know this is going.
Yeah. That was like one of the things that I really just when I first got access, which was years after you, so you were already in the game. I was trying to catch up, but I was like, yo, this interface that they're providing us. Is exactly what we need to mindset wise figure out that we're chatting and communicating with it rather than writing queries, right? It's like when I thought about, databases and being able to query, items out of a database, I'm writing SQL type commands, right? Hey, select star from this, join that, index this. But when I was like, hey, can you just tell me this information? It became really easy for me to be able to communicate with the instance of this LLM rather than having to learn either a new programming language, a new structure of asking questions, and I could just fluently just speak my own language. Right. That's when I was like, oh, this is a wrap. Yeah. I don't think people know what we really got access to.
Yeah, I mean, everything started in 2017. With the Google research paper, "Attention is All You Need." Introducing transformers, and so from that point on. That's when just kind of like this whole landscape and stuff changed, So like, think about just like what last week, Apple introducing Apple Intelligence, which in my opinion, they're about to secretly get rid of Siri.
Yeah, I think so. Are you expecting a new voice or same voice?
I'm not necessarily. I think what's going to happen is you're going to be able to choose your voice.
Okay.
Maybe choose your voice or even mimic your own voice.
Yeah.
And so I think that, and if you look at the acquisition of Siri to today, it hasn't really changed much.
Yeah, it's disappointing in my opinion.
Right, it's over a decade.
Yeah,
it hasn't really changed much or anything. And so then you come out, and most of that is because like the NLP world and everything also hasn't developed much as well. But in 2017, that's when everything changed. And so OpenAI, just really just kind of jumped out there, and this is right now. I mean, OpenAI is better than Siri, Alexa, Google Assistant, all of them put together.
Yeah, 100%. Now, who do you think is like a second up after OpenAI?
From what standpoint? Are you talking about from a competitor standpoint, or are we talking about from a voice assistant standpoint?
I would say a competitor standpoint.
This is going to sound really weird. I would say Microsoft.
Microsoft? Yeah.
So Microsoft is a partner of mine and stuff now. We'll be doing some AI education stuff with them. And so I have the privilege of kind of like seeing some of behind the scenes curtains.
He's seen some stuff.
And so when I saw it, I was like, y'all really get this. And so one of the public things I can say is just like, think about Microsoft invest into Mistral. You know, and so like, okay, why do you do that? Everything. You already have a large investment into OpenAI.
Yeah.
Why did you invest into Mistral?
Yeah.
Everything. And so, you know, Mistral is the France-based, you know, LLM company. And so it's like, why do you invest into that and everything? Okay. What I think was going to happen, and Jensen Yang, the CEO of NVIDIA, he briefly kind of talked around this. I think what's about to happen is countries, even communities, in different parts of the world will figure out a way how to own their culture.
Oh, I like that. Drop a gem for that. Own their culture.
I think they're going to figure out a way how to own their culture. And so we're going to come to a place where right now you can just kind of go and Google Translate and, you know, translate something from English to Chinese.
Yeah.
And I think what's going to happen is China's going to figure out a way how to own their culture, own their language, and you're going to have to make some type of API call to them to just transition language.
For sure.
And so I think that's like, you know, kind of like where things are headed. And so for Microsoft to invest into Mistral, because as great as OpenAI is, you know, they won't be ever as efficient as company, you know, the people who are from that country.
Yeah.
And so I think they're a partner. They're also a competitor.
That was so weird, bro. When I first saw that, because in my mind, first of all, Microsoft has been in this game for a minute, so they already know the stunt, they know the play, and I feel like they jumped ahead against all the other competitors like Google, Apple, and also Amazon. Like they just leaped ahead,
right.
But their leap ahead was by acquiring a company that I know that they're going to build something very similar and find something, right? And this is almost like if you go back in history when Apple first came out and had to get some money from Microsoft type stuff, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, why are they giving them money? Why are they doing that? And then you didn't really understand the value until you get to where we are right now.
Yeah, that's a great analogy.
And it's like, Microsoft, of course it's a $1 trillion company.
That's when Steve Jobs invited
Bill Gates
on the digital screen.
And
they booed him.
Yeah. Facts, right? Facts.
Yeah.
And it's almost like they're taking that same playbook and replaying it with a new technology that's changing the world. And I think they're being very strategic. So even hearing you say like, hey, they're making moves, I know they're making moves because it's definitely in their history.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out the end goal and stuff with them. I think they are. So this is what I'm starting to figure out with a lot of these companies is I think the big boys understand now that they are laying the pavement of this new world.
Yeah.
They're laying the concrete of this new world. And they also understand that, you know, it's a lot easier if we partner and we all build cement trucks. Everything. And so I think they're getting to that place to understand. So this is why you see, you know, I think Amazon, you know, they partner with Perplexity. You know, OpenAI has partnered with a bunch of people. You know, Apple, you know, things like that. And so why do you do that? You know, why do you do it when you already have your own NLP teams? You already have your own research. You already have your own, you know, IP and everything because now it's a partnership thing, and they're laying the foundation. Stuff like that, which is beautiful because individuals like us and, you know, 99% of the other world is now get to work and lay things like the railroads. You get to do even like the painted lines on the concrete.
I like the way you're thinking.
You know, and everything. And so Microsoft, I'm starting to figure out is like they're becoming so agnostic where they know OpenAI is going to be a player. We don't know if they're going to be number one and stuff, you know, in 5-10 years, and everybody knows it's going to be a player. But just some of the tools that they're building, you know, everything, they're making it easier for, you know, engineers to seamlessly integrate models and everything from Hugging Face. You know, which you can potentially see them as a competitor. You know, Mistral and everything. So they're just making so many things agnostic and stuff like that as well. And so, you know, but I think for them, the long play, one of the long plays is like kind of like getting things back on Azure. You know, too as well.
That's the hustle.
So, right.
Compute platform. That's the hustle.
Right.
100%.
And so, I definitely say they understand it and they're starting to figure things out. But a lot of the big company stuff are too. So, and now a lot of big companies are starting to partner. And so I think OpenAI is now about to raise another round. So like 150 billion or something like that. And, the two main people they're talking to get involved is Apple and NVIDIA.
Yeah.
They both these are simply competitors, but they're looking to partner with them. Like you said, going back to the Microsoft Apple example.
Yeah.
Looking to both invest back into OpenAI. And so I think now it's like they're all starting to kind of like cement together. And then from there, the rest of the world just kind of build on top of it.
For sure. And I think another word that comes to mind that I'm always thinking about these companies is like, I feel like they're creating the operating system for AI, like that level. Like you have Windows, Microsoft, you got Linux, and you got Unix, right? And those are like the foundational operating systems you build off of. And actually, technically, it's Windows and Unix because Linux is based off of Unix. And it's like, as soon as they start and understand that becomes the foundation, everybody's going to be building on them. And then another point that you mentioned up in terms of like these hundreds of billions that, OpenAI is putting together is like compute is the next big thing. Like it's like computing resources, computing power, data center, energy, that type of technology, that level of innovation is a space that's wide open. Because if I think about it, even when I, got off the keyboard, one of the first, GPUs that we introduced in the environment, I was the one that set it up. And I'm like, if that's how it's all set up, I know it could be better, right? It's the technology itself isn't as efficient as it is. The cooling systems aren't the best. The processors are extremely hot. It's like, I'm thinking like what the next iteration 5 to 10 years from now is going to open up even more.
I would say this. The Federal Reserve announcing that they going to lower the interest rate by 50 basis points. And, he's been signaling that it's going to come down. Mm-hmm. And so right now, money is expensive. It's expensive, for your everyday individual. It's expensive for investors and things like that. The boom that we've seen in past decades of innovation and growth in companies has happened typically when money's cheap.
Facts.
And interest rates are down. Now we're starting to head that way. It may take a couple of years, stuff what it may be. I would argue at this point where typically it's difficult to do anyway, there's probably no better time to start a hardware company than now.
Drop a gem for me on that. Shoot. Facts.
There's probably no better time because now it's about to become cheaper. You're going to start to have the intersection of AI and operations to be able to help you with things like billing, invoicing, emailing, whatever it may be. And that's going to happen at scale, which will allow you to focus on, the hardware side of things. And then you'll be able to acquire, some of your materials, at a cheaper rate. There's no better time right now to start a hardware company. Yeah. And so I think on the back end of that, I'm not sure how long it may be. I've been pretty good at predicting what's going to happen next. I've been pretty bad at predicting.
I'm subscribed, bro.
When it's going to happen.
Send out your weekly emails, bro. I'm watching.
But I think starting now, and then let's call it 5, 10, 20 years is basically the back end of this, is where you're going to start to see the full autonomy of robotics, particularly in the home.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I could totally. That path is opening up. I think we've been preparing ourselves for it with all the media content that we have out there and movies and stuff like that. One of my favorite movies, iRobot type stuff, and it's like I can already see that path is opening up. And the thing that I think our people in society needs to be mindful of is that software usually moves faster, but then software gets to a limit where hardware needs to catch up. Now you're saying it's like, software is shooting for the stars and they already have a pathway. It's like the hardware space is opening up and definitely an opportunity for us to find ways to contribute, build, develop, innovate. And it's like, it's the same story again. The operating system got really good, and then we had to build different type of hardware. It used to be big old mainframes, and then we got to these smaller pizza boxes, and then we got to virtualization, then we got to containerization. We've been trying to get down to the least amount of resources, but it's still hardware itself that we have to innovate and definitely take it to the next level. And we're right there. We're right at that spot.
You know who sends more, let's call it API calls, that is not an API company, more than anybody?
Who?
Zapier.
Oh, that's a great transition there.
And
tell us a little bit about Zapier. What is Zapier?
So Zapier is an automation platform, and it allows you to kind of connect one platform to the other. And so it allows you to connect your Instagram to your Google Sheets. It allows you to connect your Gmail and everything to your Hootsuite. And so they're an automation platform. A friend of mine's, we've mentioned this person before, and I go blank on his name every single time.
Nick Caldwell.
My
guy. What's up, Nick Caldwell?
Shout out to Nick.
Yo, Nick. I need you on the show, bro. Pull up.
I ain't answer this phone call no more. But Nick, I ran an engineering conference some years ago, and Nick was one of my speakers and stuff there, and Nick said one piece, and this is like 4 or 5 years ago. Nick said he prefers to hire bootcamp grads because now bootcamp grads are being taught simply how to connect one platform to the other.
Facts.
Everything, and how do you get to communicate?
Yeah.
And that's where the whole world is moving.
Oh, my gosh.
And so how do you connect one platform to the other and everything? And then the intersection of that, the bloodline of that, can be, artificial intelligence. So, Zapier right now, I think the last time I think it was like they're making, it was like 10 billion or 10 million calls per month.
Good Lord.
Everything around AI tasks. And so they say that they've seen that the creativity, the intersection of things has started to kind of like plateau, which is a beautiful time to be, because typically in history, when things plateau, and it always happens, and everything called the adoption curve, whatever you might be. When things plateau, is typically where the building happens.
Yeah,
this is where the entrepreneurs and everything start to like do the building and start to kind of like kind of go into a cave and stuff, if you will.
Yeah.
So I think now Dex can be building the next AI version for Facebook in mom's basement right now.
Facts.
Just because now you have so many different tools and everything at your fingertips. You got the Curses AI, you have, GitHub Copilot, you have, obviously ChatGPT and all those things like that. And so being able to build these tools at a rapid pace, man, things are about to get wild. Yeah,
it is. Yeah, it is. And I'm inspired by, you even mentioned Zapier. Because one of the things that I always find about those platforms, and I know it sounds wrong to say it the way that we're about to say it, but just know how much it's going to empower the next generation. Is they're considered like a no-code platform. Like you don't have to be a developer. You don't have to be a software engineer. You don't have to spend a whole year locked up in somebody's house, learning the code. It's more or less, hey, how do I connect this to this? What are the credentials? What are the fields that I want to make sure that they connect? Oh, that's what it's called on that platform. That's how it's called that platform. When you do this, put it over here. That no-code scene, oh my gosh. Like another one that I know is Make. Make is a really good one. Yep. And then one that I've actually been playing and we talked about here on the show is N8N. And it's one of those that are a workflow orchestration system, no code platform, but you can actually run it your own. You don't actually have to run it on another platform. You can actually run your own version of it. And the cool thing about it is this platform, NAN, and I'm not out here, trying to choose whichever one, but I'm just saying that those platforms are things that I feel like our community needs to double down on and really invest in.
Facts. Yeah. There's also too, if you realize it or not, it's also getting rid of the need for the API.
Facts. I can't believe you just said that. And I'll just interjecting real quick. One of the things that I remember teaching my mentees when I was at the keyboard is that I was like, hey, everything should be an API. Everything I talk to, everything communication, like an API. And now you're saying is like, we want to abstract that away, because that's what the API does. It just basically abstracts any operation that you think is going to happen. You're just expecting the output, right? It's like you put in some input, you expect the output just like a function, but it's like an internet function call that you're making. And now you're saying we need to abstract away that.
Yeah,
that's fire.
I mean, it's already happening.
That's fire.
You got webhooks and stuff now. You got automations and stuff now. I think what's going to happen is we're going to come to a place where you're going to have agents at scale.
Yeah.
Meaning, if you want to build something, you're going to either build or acquire or buy, subscribe a highly intelligent Python agent. And that Python agent will be able to, it would have its own, its own version or everything of, API, it understand endpoints and all things like that. And so basically what you're going to have, going back to just, Ilya, the co-founder of OpenAI, he tweeted some months ago, he said basically the new code language is English. And so what's going to happen is that you're going to write a prompt and it's going to say, hey, I would like to build a web app that pulls in data from OpenTable so I can look for automatic dating spots for me and my wife. You're going to connect with my calendar. You're going to connect with her calendar. Look for openings. The most important thing is that we have bi-weekly date nights. I'm allergic to this. She's allergic to these things. She prefers Italian. I love American, food. Here's the budget and stuff that we have on a bi-weekly basis. You already have my work hours. And by the way, while you're at it, help us find a babysitter.
That's fire.
And then it will connect to another platform and everything, and it will do the whole API endpoint processing by itself.
Yeah.
And literally what you'll just do, you'll just give it like your password or your login, things like that, and it will do that whole process by itself.
Man, you just changed the way that I'm thinking, like what the future would be, right? And I hope the audience is listening to this. We was originally talking about API calling this, putting Zapier in between. But what Marlon's describing is just being able to use English as a programming language, define what you want, and then the agents themselves, they'll figure out how to do it and then let you know when it's done.
Sounds to me like we're looking for the next John B. Rockefeller.
Ready to go, right? Man, that's amazing because I don't think that even me thinking and having access to all of this really think about that next level of abstraction, right? Because I'm still thinking like, hey, how do I automate talking to APIs and stuff like that? And what you're saying is don't get down in the weeds like that. The AI will figure it out for you. Go one more layer up and just create prompts that define the states that you want.
The most difficult time right now, the most difficult thing right now as an entrepreneur is if you're building in AI-focused service, tool, whatever it may be. If you're building a level 1 application, just making API calls, you're making a mistake.
Drop that gem for him.
Number one of these companies is probably going to do it. And so right now, if you're trying to build, and I'm not picking on anybody, if you're trying to build an automated calendar assistant, it's so easy for OpenAI, for Google, for somebody to build that. This is like a level 1 application. And it's difficult right now because you have no clue what's on their roadmap. And you need to go deep and highly focus on your customer.
Yeah.
To be successful and everything in this next tenure of things. I mean, how many times have you seen, OpenAI announce, a new model and then people tweeting like, oh, they just ruined my whole business.
Isn't that when they came out with ChatGPT, what do they call it? GPTs? Yeah, like when they came out with their own GPT agent model or agent way of setting up and configure. I believe you even were talking about that in the talk that I seen you do.
Yeah, I predicted GPTs like 6 months before OpenAI announced the GPT store. And so I was hosting a workshop. Felicia Hatcher, she did I can't remember the name of the conference, but she did a conference down in Miami. And I was one of the workshop hosts and stuff there. And so I was showing how GPTs was going to work. I had like 3 GPTs and stuff that I was showing, and it's just like 6 months before they announced the GPT store. And then they announced it. I was like, oh, crap. Again, I'm good at predicting what's going to happen. I didn't think it was going to happen that fast.
Oh, man. Did y'all hear what he just said? He did not know it was going to happen that fast.
Yeah,
that's how fast this thing is iterating.
Yeah. We're in, everything is, and my most exciting thing that's coming is these voice agents. It's here.
Yeah.
man, that's going to get wild.
Yeah, it's going to change the game. It's going to change the game.
Wow.
Yeah, and if you're not familiar with it, when OpenAI released, I don't even know if they actually released it yet. They have released a voice. They've released videos of having voice conversations that at that really high level, but I haven't gotten it yet on my platform.
And another thing, OpenAI. Yeah, I've been a part of this community.
Give it to him
for quite some time. Come on, man, send me the invite.
Send him the link.
I got access to Search GPT. They send me that and say, I know an individual, and this individual communicate me how they release, features. And so there's in tiers. I think it's like 5 tiers. Tier 1s is partners and nonprofits. They get the first access.
Yeah, and that's how you got in the first time, right?
Well, yes.
Yeah.
So the partners and nonprofits, this is how they get like early access then. Next tier, tier 1 is trusted developers. So they got a bunch of developers like in there, like kind of consortium. Next tier is partners and nonprofits. And
yeah.
The next tier is high engaging developers. So I'm in that tier. Everything. Next tier is, I can't remember the 4th tier, and then the 5th tier is like everybody else.
Yeah.
And so I'm in that 3rd tier.
My guys say holla at him.
Yeah, I haven't got advanced voice yet.
Yeah.
And everything. And I've been seeing a few people in Reddit and stuff like that. I've been flagging everybody's account who gets it. I've been hating.
Look, this post got to come down. Exactly right.
I've been waiting.
That's
for
hilarious.
It. And it's funny, and it's probably a good thing that I haven't got it yet because I also don't know if they're going to release. I know they're going. What I've been seeing is they released it on the ChatGPT side. I'm not sure they released it on the API side.
That's when it's going to really open up.
And so it's probably a good thing for me because I've already told people like, look, I'm saying the minute I get the email, I'm shutting down for like a week. I'm about to build some stuff.
Facts.
So it's probably a good thing I haven't got the email yet.
Yeah. But hey, if you're listening, ChatGPT or OpenAI,
hey man,
all of y'all out there, first of all, holla at us because we're looking for sponsorship. I put the plug there, right? But also my guy needs access because I'm trying to see what he's building so I can just, what you doing?
Immediately, yeah.
But no, I mean, these voice models that they're about to release has a different type of communication. So much so that I'll even go back to when I was asking you, hey, will Siri have the same voice? Is that same mindset is that now our interface for communication, it moves away from text and chat and to just direct input output in terms of conversation.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. My gosh.
It goes deeper than that.
Yeah.
I mean, we imagine a world where you're going to basically eventually have either full-time, part-time, or in-between sessions an AI therapist. Why do you do that? Number one, it's available 24/7.
Yeah.
It will have a deep knowledge and everything via, your private vector database, public, whatever it may be. You have a deep knowledge of you. And then 2, it will be able to, we already started to see that it can respond with empathy voice, comical voice, a little bit firmer, things like that. Okay, so that part's out the way. But the storing of information and everything about you, you can have these things private. So where does it go from there? Everything going back to the thing of webhooks, everything, and kind of not needing, on the developer side API stuff. Eventually, we're going to see a world where you just lost your dog, and he passed away, and you check in with your therapist, and it's like, man, this is really difficult. And everything I had for the last 15 years, and just like things like that. And you're expressing, all this, different things like that. And it's listening, it's responding, and you're starting to feel better. And so from there, going back to the thing of the webhook, it also checks your vector database and realizes through difficult times of your life, the things that helped you get through these is songs, music. What does it do then? Everything. It could have your information where it may be. But from there, it goes to connect with an AI platform like Sono, or Stable Diffusion, and it creates its own prompt of what you're going through, your dog's name, all the different things like that. It also understands Al Green is one of your favorite artists of all time. and this likeness with this permission of, you know,
royalties and stuff like that.
It creates a song on your experience of what you're going through to help you get over this hurdle.
That's powerful. That's powerful. That's like speaking to your spirit type stuff. Because now it's like not just following along and tracking and keeping up with it, but also making recommendations in the best mediums that you receive. For me, music is definitely one of those mediums. Yep. Movies might be poetry, an article. Like, it could be the AI will eventually figure it out, and then have the ability to be creative in that space to create something to speak to my spirit.
Yep.
Wow. Hey, you got a newsletter or something like that? How can people follow along? Because every time you drop these gems, I can't have the camera set up every time, Marlon.
Yeah. You know what's funny? Me and some buddy of mine, we just started a podcast, AI with Friends.
Oh, big shout outs. Let's give him a big round of applause. AI with Friends.
And so my buddy, shout out to Sekou and Adrian. Sekou is a principal cloud engineer at Pinterest. Adrian is the VP of engineering at Live Nation.
That's what's up.
So we've been having these conversations about the last year, and we're just like this. We're talking about what we've seen, what we're building, what we're working on. You know, sharing. And then just like a couple months ago, he's like, "Man, you know what? This would probably be valuable for a lot of people." And so, like, we're like 2 episodes in, but definitely, you know, AI with Friends.
Oh my gosh, I'm already subscribed, bro. Yeah, I'm ready for it, because I think the thing that I'm enjoying about our conversation is first of all, my circle around me in terms of people that are aware of this technology is very limited. It's going to D Hustle, Raymond, don't call him Ray, and just a few people. And what I'm realizing is that our circle, our ability to think beyond, is still limited by just the circle. So I need input from other people, like-minded, or thought leaders like you, that you just last 5-10 minutes blew my mind. I'm already thinking beyond what I've already thought. And all it was is just to hear where you're at in your journey, or where your thought is. So if y'all not already subscribed, first of all, subscribe to the podcast here at the Tech Hustle. Go check my guy out, because he definitely is going to get you to think about this stuff in a different light. And it's coming from somebody that's from our community. That's the thing that's just like getting me riled up. Is like, it's not like a Sam Alton or one of these VPs or CEOs of these big companies that you can't resonate with. It's coming from your guy. He knows what it feels like. And now he's starting to see these moves that are starting to open up. This is how we're going to be able to catch this wave. So first of all, thank you so much, my brother. Continue to push. Keep doing what you're doing, because you are already, in this last 5-10 minutes, already gave me a new business idea. I might be looking for investors soon. So
for sure.
For sure, man. So in terms of, like, I think we've really talked about ideas of where AI could go and kind of how far we could stretch it. But I want to get down into the nitty gritty. Like, what are you building as of late? What is like a project that you're really like passionate about outside of the, this North Star thinking? Is something that you've been really dedicating some time to?
Yeah, man, definitely. I got a few clients, but I got 2 major ones right now. If you've been in Miami, there's a very popular, and it means world renowned, Vizcaya Museum. And so Vizcaya Museum is a client of mine. It's funny. My whole mission and stuff now is to decrease fear with AI, increase creativity.
I like that.
So I decrease fear via workshops, and so I can show you how it's built. I can teach it and everything, and I can do it for anybody in the room. I can talk to the PhDs, everything, and I can talk to your everyday workforce.
Yeah.
And so I can shift and everything no matter the topic and stuff like that. And so with that, we decrease fear by doing workshops and showing what it can do. And then at the end of those workshops, the whole goal is for, number one, when I get done, I want that look on your face of like I ate too much. Like I'm full. I want that.
Yeah.
Because then your mind starts to open, starts to expand. And so from there, my work is done, because then from there, individuals are already creative. And then your creativity is going to come to the place of like, man, is it possible, you can build this? And I'm like, actually we can. We have an agency, that we can build these things. So I'm here to say that's how I acquired Vizcaya Museum as a client. They came to one of my workshops, and I didn't even know they was in the room.
Look at that.
And so, so Vizcaya Museum, the founder, if you've been there, it's a world-renowned place and everything. It's a beautiful place known for, its architecture and also to its art and stuff there, and also the garden, that the founder built. So the founder's name is James Deering, and they reached out to me and said, "Hey, Marlon, we acquired like thousands of letters, from James Deering, and so these were like letters, so these like late 1800s, early 1900s, and so." And basically, these are like just day-to-day communication. You can call it text messages, via letters.
That's what it used to be, right? You got to wait for that mail, though.
And so basically, they wanted to take all these letters, and basically, store them into, take the information from them and store them into like a vector database and everything, and build a communication, version of James Deering.
Oh my gosh!
For the client, for the visitor to be able to chat to learn more, everything about James Deering. Museum and things like that, and so yeah, we're also partnering with Microsoft, so we're building this on top of Azure too as well, where we're using OCR, which is optimal character recognition, and so it was interesting too because like a lot of these letters are handwritten.
Yeah,
some of these letters are typed. Some of these letters have burn stains on them. Like these are like letters that they acquire, and so building that process, and then the other client is a neurologist's office. Now I talked about them before, and so we're about to go live stuff here, full scale live stuff soon. Yeah, basically it's an AI phone agent. So they reached out to me and they said they're receiving like 5,000 to 6,000 calls a month, and their team can only get like half of them. And so they wanted to figure out, can they use AI to kind of like take over the phone lines? And so I was like, yeah, for sure. And so basically we built an AI phone agent that will, take, bookings, answer basic questions, directions, questions about the doctors, and then basically have the capability of checking them in too as well. So, both of those aspects we're building right now are like level one, but, we're about to build out to the point on their side where it can be automate their billing.
Once they get a taste of it, it's going to be a wrap.
Oh, they have no clue.
Yeah. Marlon's like, all right, so what else is going on over there? A word? All right, let me take that. All right, what else is going on?
and I get it. All this is new for most of everybody. So, I move at their pace. Yeah. And everything, but I'm definitely like the Joker in the background because I know the big plan. That's what's up. Heath Ledger Joker, too.
My guy said, I already got the plan. That's what's up. That's what's up. And big shout outs to those opportunities that you have. And now I see why you want that voice feature in OpenAI to come through so it can make that phone situation even.
Come on, man.
My guy's like, I'm ready for it. I'm ready. Yeah. That's what's up, man. That's what's up. And you also do public speaking and workshops. So tell us a little bit about that in terms of that part of your journey.
Yeah, man. I did my first workshop I did was last May. The city of New York, a friend of mine had won a government contract with the city of New York on a workforce development program. And so basically the city of New York wants to start teaching skills of tomorrow. So things like solar panels, things like, clean energy, clean water, everything. One of those segments was AI. And so she invited me to do the workshop, and this is like my first one, but I've been building, it's just things like that already. Man, as soon as I stepped in front of that class, I was like, "Oh yeah,
you knew it,
yeah." And so since then, like I said, I've done 60 plus engagements, since last May. So from different workshops, so mostly teaching entrepreneurs, organizations, nonprofits, governments, of how to integrate it and what it is into as well. And so, I've been doing that and stuff for quite some time. Just got back from DC. I spoke at the National Black MBA conference.
Oh, that's what's up. Congratulations, man.
So, that was dope.
Yeah.
And then next week I'm headed somewhere. I'm speaking somewhere.
Okay, my guy. That's when you know the schedule's good. Like, where you go? Marlon, can I pull? Nah, I don't even know where I'm going. You're going to have to hit me up later. Talk to my AI.
Yeah. I'm speaking somewhere. Then the week after, we're both speaking at Black Men in Tech.
Facts. Big shout out to Cam and Black Men in Tech.
I know y'all see us. Shout out to everything that's coming up.
Yeah.
So, I got that coming up. I'm speaking at the Georgia Georgia Department of Education conference in November. I'll be in Albuquerque, New Mexico, in November sometime too. And I'm heading back to DC, I believe in December too as well. And so again, man, my goal is to decrease fear, increase creativity.
Facts.
When the creativity is increased, you reach out to me, say, hey, can we book this? Of course. Can we build this? Of course we can.
Yeah, for sure. My guy. Man, and let me tell you, I've been following your journey since I first met you. I met Marlon down at it was a Tech Tuesday event that I've met you at. And I was like, yo, first of all, how did I not know about you? That's number one. And number two is like, where do I follow along? And so I subscribe to all your socials, and I've been following along and watching your journey. And then we've obviously had some conversations as you're, constantly iterating and moving forward. And I want to tell you, man, it's like a breath of fresh air seeing and watching you move, because we have a situation with AI that I don't know how many times I have to scream it out as a public service announcement, especially for our community, that we have to follow along and get involved. And we need to follow the right people, not just people that are there for the hype or there for the gram follow, but someone that's running workshops, coming out the gate saying, hey, I want to help reduce fears that you have with this so that you can be a creative and have that space. So, I mean, it's if y'all not following him, I'm totally encouraging y'all to follow him. It's going to be on our site. It's going to be in the show notes, because I can't wait to see where 5-10 years from now for where you be at.
I give you an example of how big this thing is. In 1999, China joined the WTO, which is the World Trade Organization, and they've been trying to join for quite some time. And so during that time period, when they joined, they said, hey, we're here, and what we'll do is we will take over manufacturing. We'll make it cheaper, better, more efficient. And at the time, too, a lot of people don't remember that they bankrupt a lot of countries because they took a lot of those, jobs and things, from them. At that time, I think China's GDP was like at like 1 billion or something like that. And so now it's like at 20 billion off that one decision.
Yeah.
Off that one decision. And they have scaled, since then. AI is bigger than that.
Facts.
Because China made one decision that scale manufacturing. Artificial intelligence can scale everything.
Everything.
From your ideas and everything, from your newspapers, from your music, from your EA Sports just announced they're about to allow people to start building their own video games. Everything, using AI too as well.
And they're building the platform. You run it right on top of their platform.
Brilliant. Everything. I mean, even in the video game aspect too as well. I mean, even with the AI EU Act, them announcing their policies, and the one category they didn't touch on, it was like, hey, do what you really want to do, was gaming.
Wow.
And stuff. And so, like, being able to embed a LLM into a particular a character on Call of Duty, on 2K, whatever it may be, and literally just the experience of that journey can be different per person, everything, for, if they have an LLM and stuff attached to it.
It's like creating their player, right?
Yep. Or even creating scenes and creating battles or creating adventures, or, hey, we got to go all the way over there. And while you're walking there, it's creating the scenery as you're doing it. Like,
and it takes you, yes, you're exactly right. Creating new scenes and everything, and it takes you all to like a similar journey and everything. Now, what happens there? When I've had experience, when you have experience, and when you have experience, what does that do? That builds community. Because now we want to talk. And everything.
Oh, when I went there, this that happened.
Wait, hold on, you didn't have?
Yeah.
Man, let me start this game over. Bro. Like, what you do? And everything. And now I'm going to go through a whole different experience and everything. And now what's going to happen is you're going to start to see our favorite games, from your, your Spider-Mans to your 2Ks, whatever it be. You're going to start to see people, something that typically is not done a lot, and if at all, you're going to start to see people replay the whole game. They get a different experience.
Every time.
They get a different experience and everything. And you're buying and everything. I would imagine and stuff, and man, I promise, some of y'all take my ideas.
You said it first here, though. We got the recording. We got timestamps and everything.
With that type of capability, what's going to happen is your favorite games and new games and things like that is going to create a whole different, because right now the gaming industry is kind of locked down. It's going to create a whole different, the gaming industry is going to happen the same thing with the music industry happened. At one point, you can only go to the record labels.
Yeah.
And now you're going to start to have you got independent artists and everything. One of my favorite artists is Toby Nwigwe. And now you're going to start to have independent video game developers and everything. And so they're going to have their own rights and stuff like that, especially with the blockchains as well.
Oh my gosh!
And
go ahead.
And so, like, you're going to start to have that where people are going to start to develop their own games. What's going to happen is the fact that you're able to have a different experience every time you play the game. The revenue model of those games would change to a monthly subscription. So it won't be just $80, $60 for your one game or anything. It'll be $45 a month. Everything, because now you get to replay the game and do
exactly.
Like that. And then you'll figure out some type of way, especially too talking about like, I think we talk about the creator economy. We talked about the creator economy and things like that, and we're starting to see, and then, it got introduced through things like Uber and DoorDash, things like that. And now we're starting to see things with podcasts, and we're starting to see streamers and things like that. The combination of things like voice cloning, the combination of being able to build, LLM and everything through structured conversations and having conversations, dialogue, transcriptions. And right now, man, if I'm a Kai Cenat, a T-Pain, one of the streamers and stuff who's at a large place, I'm either partnering or I'm building a company that allows creators to digitize themselves via blockchain. What do you do with that? Now you license your character to all gaming platforms.
Facts. That connection to each other.
And then you can have your own insertion. You can do your own voice cloning. You can own all these these aspects and stuff of it. And then you start to license it and everything. Now we're going to get back to the world like the metaverse, and then you start to do a partnership with the independent gamer that's coming up, and now you're a Kai Cenat, and T-Pain, whatever it may be, is the main character, stuff of it. And then that same component, just like streaming with an independent artist, your character starts to live in all the different worlds, and it starts to go from there.
Yo, you need to go write this down, player, because I mean this is very, very, very interesting, because I think you're taking two technologies, merging them together, and solving a big problem with our community is that we don't get credit for a lot of stuff we create. We don't even know that somebody else is using it.
All of them dancers were Fortnite and everything. Took your dance and everything. Man.
All of them, and you see the game doing it, and this young little lady was over there. She was the first one. Imagine that was written into blockchain. Imagine if every time that plays, it gives that credit to that individual that first created and wrote that in the blockchain.
Going back to what I said earlier is, cultures and countries going to figure out how to own their culture.
You see his moves? Give him a round of applause. He did like a Lil Wayne thing. He dropped something earlier and he made it all the way back around. Yo, that's fire though, because I've always been waiting for that time that, first of all, people would understand the value around what blockchain as a technology provided us. Yeah. And now you're talking about how creativity in the era with AI will be endless. But how can those people that are the original creators still get credit for their content and a royalty system that pays out generations? Oh my gosh, player. Yep. Whenever you putting that team together, holla at your boy.
Yep.
D Hustle said, I run all the operations. We got you. I'll be like, I got you on the system side, infrastructure. Let's make it happen, because I really do feel like this type of thinking is where we really need to be, right? We need to be thinking, and you were talking about like tier 1, like level of application development. This is like that high level thinking that I'm so grateful that you gave us the space so we can hear things like this, but also looking forward to more spaces like that, because we need to take that to the next higher level. Not just, hey, how do we connect these apps and make a few dollars now? No, I'm trying to figure out a way to make this generational, global, impactful, and everybody remembers who the original creator is.
Right.
Man, woo. D Hustle, I told you it was going to be a great guest. D Hustle was like,
you said you got some questions too. You ain't said one word. So
he's in awe right now.
You're giving me a lot right now.
He's in awe. This is
funny because I might have some questions when the segment is over.
He's
like, well, come back.
Yeah. He's in awe though. Another cool thing is we had a guest on our show. Big shout out to hip hop gamer in New York, from East New York. My guy. He's one of those rocks, one of those big old chains, like you know. Oh my gosh, this is my dude. But his impact to our community is around gaming and understanding the value that gaming is a way for us to teach, develop, but also there's just people that are interested in it. And you don't have to be, you know, the one on the block on the corner type stuff. You can still be yourself and enjoy gaming. And one of the things that he was talking about is, and I say one or two levels lower than where you were just talking about, because it's like it just closed that gap in terms of like, hey, innovative wise, if you have the right medium, all you need is a right prompt to define what game, what type of adventures, what type of actions, what type of things need to be happening, and then eventually getting that developed into an application. It just goes. Yeah. Oh man, I can't wait until these 2 episodes come out together. So
we're definitely on the way there. I mean, we're at a beautiful place of prompt to text. You know, prompt to images is getting better every single day. You know, we're about to see, you know, prompt to video and stuff very soon. And I think the next element of that is going to be prompt to gaming.
Yeah.
And so we're going to see so many different, you know, variations and stuff of that. You're going to see, you know, prompt to, you know, website, prompt to application. You know, we're already starting to see that too as well. And so, it's going to be a game changer.
That's what's up. Well, I think what time are we at? We got at least a little bit more, because I got one more question for you. There's a technology that we've been talking about a lot, and I want to give you a chance to kind of give some clarity, especially for the audience that are learning and develop, is around vector databases. Tell us a little bit about it, and tell us, you know, like what's the importance around it, and then we'll give you a chance to close out.
Yeah, for sure. Vector databases essentially is a technology where you allow a database to be stored and everything in certain, you know, documents. And so information of, you know, of text and so on and so on. And so it's extremely important and stuff now, just because the way the embedding process works and everything, and the way the AI needs to receive and read and understand a large amount of text and everything is via vector databases. And so going back to what we talked about with the AI therapist is you will be able to talk for hours. You know, be able to talk for hours and everything about what's going on in your life, your emotions, what happened in your childhood, or, you know, things like that. And so your human therapist typically, you know, takes notes, and they have voice recorders and things like that. But, you know, being able to build an AI therapist on top, you know, with a vector database, you know, the AI therapist will be able to immediately understand that what you're going through right now is an indication of something that happened to you when you were 7 years old. And, you know, and therapists can do that, you know, stuff now. It may take them some time, or they may have to go back to their notes and stuff where it may be, or, you know, just off memory. But, you know, storing this information in a vector database and being able to then, you know, connect that, you know, to additional other platforms, that things and stuff that you know, care about, you know, will be just like, it's going to be life-changing.
Yeah.
You know, so I will go even deeper and everything. And I'm going to say I got in trouble.
You got in trouble.
The jury's not out yet.
Yeah. I challenged it. It's okay. I did a keynote talk at Morehouse. Was that this year? Yeah, I think it was this year, early this year. And I challenged HBCUs, and there are some people who are starting to work around this right now, you know, as well. With things like vector databases and also too leaning toward the open source side, we're at a place right now where it allows the Black community to never have their history rewritten ever again.
Drop that gem. Yes, 100,000%.
And so, you know, I would love a world where all HBCUs partner and they start to store books, curriculum, you know, notes, all these things and everything into one large, database, LLM, like where it may be. And from there, what you do with that is then you give people access to history. You give people access to identity. You give people access to culture.
Oh, there he goes.
And being able to learn and stuff with that. And so being able to synthesize not only to your PhD student, but to your 5-year-old daughter as she's trying to learn and build her own identity herself and everything. From there, when you build the foundation of that, the next step of that too as well is to allow the consumer to get access to it, to store their information on it. Their information is letters they got from grandma. The letters they got from their dad in prison. The grandma's recipes.
The facts. Oh my gosh, that's a great one. You know
how
many recipes are gone?
I don't think they want to give it a recipe.
But it's a private.
Yeah.
You make sure it's private.
But you wanted to pass it down too.
You make sure you give it to pass it down, and you do it and everything, and you give the family access to it. And so think about, we've all seen the movie.
Like Ancestry.
No, we've all seen the movie. I'm going blank. The grandma that passed away in the movie, Cousin Faith.
Is that like a Tyler Perry one, or?
It was an old Drew Hill was on the soundtrack. Not Soul Food. Oh man, that's gonna bother me.
Yeah, we'll drop it in the description.
Yeah. So we've seen that movie, everything, but it's like when grandma passed, like the whole family, fell apart. You know, cousins started fighting. Now the sisters don't like each other and things like that, and so. Ahmad that's funny. I remember all the characters in the movie's name. Ahmad was one of the characters, and he basically was one of the young kids trying to get the family back together and everything. It's like that, as well. You'll never be able to replace grandma. You'll never be able to replace, grandpa. You'll never replace the people who passed, but you'll still be able to have a synthetic tie, to them that you can pass down. Yeah. And right now, the only way we're doing that is through photo books.
Yeah.
Through, recipes. But be able to have, an everyday experience, connected with you of you just had a big life thing, and it's like, you know what? Hey, I'm dealing with this. Going back to be connected to your therapist, dealing with this and everything, I really, really want to know, what will grandma do during this time?
Oh, yeah.
What's some advice you would give me?
Yeah.
Everything?
Almost Christmas?
No. Oh man, Almost Christmas. Almost Christmas was one of those movies that built in time, but it was like a while ago. Just search Cousin Faith, Google Cousin Faith, and put movie, and it's going to pop right back up.
But that's powerful in terms of that type of access that
Soul
think.
Food. That's the name
Soul
of it.
Food,
Yeah, that's the name of it. I think I said it earlier, too.
You did.
Yeah, Soul Food. Yeah, that's the name of the movie, yeah.
But what I was getting to is like there's something that goes on in our culture is we lose history so easy.
Yeah.
And what you're telling me right now is vector databases being one of those sources that we can store history as such, and then providing an interface that allows an LLM to reside on top of it, but it's using that as a source, and then I'm able to get advice from that source data that I store there. Yeah, bro.
And you connect that with a focus agent, which is an AI therapist that can embed. You can embed your family data from a vector database. You can have the mindfulness of a coach, of a Kobe Bryant, along with that too as well, while you're also, trying to learn how to build architecture, and you're learning this from the history of Frank Lloyd Wright. Like, it will be able to help you walk through things, or different we've never seen before.
Never.
I mean, our grandkids, they're gonna be looking at us like, you did a podcast? That was it? I built 16 companies. Well, back in my day, we didn't have all that.
That's not a lie, though. That's not a lie, man. That's not a lie. Oh, man. Yo, I feel like we got some great business ideas that are coming up. And let me tell you, if anything comes out of the tech hustle, you definitely come and get a check, all right?
I'm definitely doing the Gary V. I'm clipping this and everything. It's funny. I did that a couple weeks ago.
Oh, did you?
I did that. Mark Zuckerberg had said something word for word. Mm-hmm. And I put out, I said this like 10 months ago.
Yeah.
And everything. And I definitely clipped it and put it on there. And I was like,
clip it all, player, because this is how we record time now, right?
Yeah.
But one thing I'm going to mention to my audience is that you are actually helping me solve a personal legend of mine. So one of my goals in terms of in life is to define things and goals that I want to achieve. Some of those earlier personal legends that I have is travel the world, is to be a great father and, develop a great family, to working at a very high level in tech, as high as I can go. And my newest personal legend, which I think in terms of long term, is teaching the next generation how to store time. Teaching the next generation how to store time. What did you just give me? How to store time. How to store our time from our ancestors, those that are here now, the ones that are in the past, from letters, from writings, from video recording, audio recording, how to store that so it can never be lost. And I'm telling you, when you see those patents come across or those business ideas come across, for sure, I want you to make sure you come and collect a check.
I give you one here going out.
Uh-oh.
Bro, this is a safe space. Haven't you figured that out yet?
I don't know what to call it, but I understand consumer behavior, and I can see how things happening over here and how it's going to translate into over here.
Stay tuned.
When you talk about the embedding process of an agent and how people are going to want to connect different licensed, unlicensed agents and everything to their own therapist, coach, whatever it may be, a good indicator of how to figure out where and how people are thinking about it already without them knowing, YouTube and TikTok pages. What are people subscribing to? Motivational videos. They want to watch their favorite creator talk about, makeup.
Yeah.
They want to watch, Kobe Bryant videos. They want to watch, all the different aspects, business, things like that. That whole process of where people are starting to do it right now is going to be the same thing, and they're going to have an agent that's going to communicate to them on a daily basis of what these things are happening.
Yeah.
In their own way.
Yeah. In
the way they want it and everything. It'd just be in somebody's AirPods. It'd be somebody's newsletter. It'd be, especially too with, IoT, stuff enlarging, you're going to have it on TV, on a refrigerator, and it'll all be an agent that's going to just consistently, filter in all this information.
Yeah.
And that process is already starting to happen, particularly too. TikTok's algorithm has changed everything. And so that process has already started to happen. And so what I do now, I kind of caught myself, and I was like, I was watching, and like one day I was in like a Kobe Bryant rabbit hole, and I was just like going. I'm a big Lakers fan, so I was kind of going down the jeans, and I was like, And I started looking at other pages. I'm like, yeah, I see what this is headed. Yeah, and everything. So my mind kind of put it all together.
Yeah. That's what's up. I got to get you to holler at Raymond. Don't call him Ray Ray. And I know that D also has always for Lakers fans some questions about LeBron and Bronny Jr.
Another segment.
That's another segment.
Bronny, you mean Bronny?
Bronny. Well, he's LeBron Jr. So, but anyways,
he legally changed his name.
Did he?
Yeah, to Bronny.
Okay. That's why he's not going to put JR on the back. But so we're at the tail end of our conversation, and I want to give you a chance to just give our audience some last words before we cut it out. But first of all, I want to say thank you so much for the time. And yeah, man, this is going to be one of my favorite episodes, especially about a topic around AI. Y'all been following the show, so you already know. But Marlon, let me give you a chance to close us out with any last words.
Yeah, man. History has done a beautiful job of, repeating itself. Typically, us as human beings were skeptical to new inventions, new technologies, all things like that. Believe it or not, when the bicycle was created, we were skeptical. There were communities that didn't want it because it was impacting newspapers, people who sold newspapers, because while you're on the bike, you can't read. Or when you get home, you're too tired to read your newspaper, and so people stop the newspaper. Sales start to grow down. Same thing too with the elevator. The elevator, people didn't want it because it gave Bob on the street access to the 7th floor quicker than typically, if they didn't live in that building and stuff as well. And then also too, doctors didn't understand the aspect of elevation, and so the rise of the elevator. They thought when people were getting headaches and kind of get motion sickness, they thought it was going to be terminal, and so we've repeated this whole thing, as human beings, and then later years down the road, you realize, okay, that's, it's fine. This thing of artificial intelligence, as of today, this is the dumbest it ever be. Right now, 5 seconds later, it's gotten smarter. And not only just on the generative AI side, but, on the self-driving aspect, the autonomous vehicle side, on the robotic side. And on the Gen AI side specifically, this is the first large technology where your everyday individual have the ability to build with it. We didn't have that opportunity with the internet.
Right.
You didn't have that opportunity with cell phones, smart apps, all things like that. And so this is going to be life-changing, not only for individuals, but, for the people coming behind us. My concern with this is spending too much time being headline readers and not practitioners. And unfortunately, and it's not even, your fault and our fault, because I'm starting to see a lot of headline readers getting paid as speakers. And they're just reading the headlines and just kind of, reverberating and stuff like what they read.
Yeah.
And it's doing a disservice. And so my ask is to just start, start to figure it out, start to just, start with just asking the questions, start with prompting. We've all have these ideas of like, man, we wish this product, service stuff was in the market, start asking questions and everything, how you can build it, how you can go about it. And, you would definitely find yourself down a rabbit hole and down a journey. But, even more so, you may find yourself at a profitable state where you can build, sell, acquire, whatever it may be. And so, I ask you to, start, be a practitioner, in the space, what you learn, go teach one other person, and then what you build, go sell to one other person, and so from there. So if I can be an assistance, in any way, I am Marlon Avery on all, platforms, so feel free to DM me. Instagram and LinkedIn is probably the best place and everything to reach out to me. And yeah, man, appreciate you guys having me.
Ooh, give him a round of applause. Turn that all the way up. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for that, my brother. Let's cue up that music, D Hustle. Let's close this out. Let me tell y'all, audience, first of all, I've mentioned this many times on my show. There's a rewind button that you press it and it goes back. We marked everything. Everything is going to be on there. We're going to even use AI to give us markers in terms of timestamps. I want y'all to go back and listen to this brother because
I'm going to go back and listen to it.
D Hustle's also going to go back, right? And the thing is that I don't bring people around that I don't respect and don't look up to, and also just follow along in their stories. And he is one of those that I put at a really high level, especially when we're talking about AI, because it's different. It's something that I know my community, if we don't catch it, we're going to miss this wave and we're going to be left way behind. Yeah. There is these ideas that we talked about, the businesses that we're going to be coming up with. Keep an eye out for them. Keep following along. Follow my guy. Follow the Tech Hustle. You got a new podcast. What's the name again?
AI with Friends.
AI with Friends. Tune in because
come on too.
Yeah, I'm pulling up. I'm pulling up. I got to make a trip to the east. I've been to the other side, the West Coast. I'm ready to go, player. But in general, just know that I don't bring people on here unless they have something to give, and he's given a lot. So I want y'all to get your cup ready. He's going to be pouring, and definitely follow along. Other than that, you know how we do it here backstage. D Hustle, any last words, player?
Marlon!
My God. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. It's Backstage with BobbyD. Holla at me.